Alright guys, I'm a little curious as to when he starts being visible. Does he disappear over here when I go through the door? Does he load out? No. Still there. Fuck it. Peek. Alright, let's just do it. Let's just get rid of him. Be done with him. Now, he's straight up in front of us now. Underneath the the Pilgrim Butterfly. And he's kneeling down. You can actually see the lightning effect over there. He's kneeling down in front of that fountain. Thought I was about to die for a second. Like, man, I don't die to this boss. Oh, not at all what I meant to do. Well, there you have it. Dragonslayer Armour killed me. But no, he is one of the bosses I've thought a lot about. It's just because there isn't a whole lot of lore on him. Not a whole lot of lore about him, and I want to know the story behind him. How does he tie in with Eygon of Karim? Why is Eygon now dead? Spoilers. Even though me and Eygon defeated that fool, Eygon is now dead. Oh, I did do the right thing. Work, please. We get his soul. Okay. Soul of the Dragonslayer Armour, one of the Twisted Souls steeped in string. Users acquire many souls. The Dragonslayer Armour, controlled by the Pilgrim Butterfly, lost its master long ago, but still remembers their sporting hunts. So, Pilgrim Butterfly. Let's start with Pilgrim Butterfly. Pilgrim Butterfly has to be those things, or at least the one we killed is called Pilgrim Butterfly. Because when we killed... This better not glitch out on me. Okay. When we kill... Oh, I gotta look at the statues too. There's a lot we gotta do here before we can go onto the archives. We may be doing Talk Souls for a minute. Archives are right up there, by the way. So, we might as well go back and get the lore on him. But we fought him, and while we were fighting him, there was a pilgrim butterfly over here shooting shit at us. That's what exploded on me and almost killed me. And he was, you know, over here tearing Eygon up. When we killed the Dragonslayer Armour, the pilgrim butterfly flew, you know, died. So it seems like their souls are kind of linked. Now, the phrasing of pilgrim butterfly absolutely makes me think of the pilgrims as we saw them, like Yol. Makes me think of them as some sort of cocoon. So this is what they can potentially become. Now, a lot of them, maybe that is what they're becoming after they die. Maybe one of these is Yol. We could be looking at Yol. Well, he didn't really fulfill his purpose in this playthrough, so perhaps. Well, yeah, he did. He did, because we got Yuri and we killed him. So one of these could be Yol, or the pilgrim that helps Yuria. I don't know. If we had we read the lore from the blade, the Morian blade or whatever. It reminds me of these steeples. However, the problem is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 little things coming off of this steeple, and the description of the Morian blade describes the twisted steeples of the Sable Church of Londor, which these aren't twisted, and we're not at a church. However, before we go back and get the rest of the Dragonslayer Armour lore, we're going to look at the statues here, because right off the bat, I mean, these could be destroyed if you did the boss fight, and you might have never have noticed them. That is the face of a primordial serpent. That flappy ass mustache hanging down there. That's a primordial serpent. What's different about him is this guy isn't coming out of the earth at a random spot and just being a head and neck. This guy's got wings. This guy has wings. And not the dragon type of wing, but the damn angelic type of wings. Is this what they mean by angels? You know what I'm saying? Are these the divine messengers, the primordial serpents? I mean, look at that face. That's a fucking primordial serpent. Where'd you go? I mean, the mask could be, or their helmet could be like an imitation. I wish if it was an imitation, you would surely highlight that freaking skin mustache. You know, hanging off their face, the cheek stash. And then the other wax-covered figure, I'm going to assume is a scholar. It's holding a book. One of the 3 pillars of Lothric. Kind of hinting we're coming up on the Grand Archives. And then, of course, the Knight, Pillar of Lothric. And I believe that's the only statues we get here is the Primordial Serpent and the Scholar. I don't want to trudge forward just yet. What I want to do, because I've covered this a little bit in a previous episode, because we're about to come up on a corpse of a Black Hand. So let's not do that. Let's talk to Mr. Ludleth. We do need to kill Ludleth again. I mean, I just enjoy it, honestly.
Aha, thou returned. So, the eyes show a place. So, I willed myself, Lord, to link the fire, to paint a new vision. What is thine?
Paint a new vision instead of a dark. Okay, that's interesting, that phrasing. But let's look at the 2 items. And I'm going to purchase the shield because we're going to get off on a fucking tangent from hell. Ah, man, I need to buy the axe too, though. This is going to be painful. Yeah, we may not get too much further in this playthrough, or this episode, rather. Melted iron, great axe that once formed part of the Dragonslayer armor. Thickly imbued with the power of lightning. Use skill to draw upon the techniques used to slay the archdragons. Melted iron shield that once formed part of the Dragonslayer armor. The shield offers high protection to lightning, which the Dragonslayer commanded as his own, and its skill has faint echoes of the Dragonslayer's own fighting style. So here's what is similar about the two pieces. Melted iron great axe, melted iron shield. Let's first talk about the great axe. This is where I'm going to have to log into another character to show this. So, what's common about the Dragon Slayers, at least the big named ones like Ornstein and Nameless King, is their weapon choice, the cross spear. The cross spear is imbued with lightning. I'm not even looking at the damn monitor right now. I'm looking off to the side, that's why I'm not moving. The cross spear is nice. Well, I guess I could be switching while I'm talking.
I took the mantle too.
Yeah. The cross spear is a weapon used for thrusting, right, into dragons. Thrusting into dragons. This great axe, however, not so good a weapon for thrusting. I believe you'd agree. Not so great a weapon for thrusting. Right? You can't thrust with the great axe. I'm just praying that this character has the weapon on him. I bet he has the shield, though. There it is. Okay, so let's take a look at other cross spears. Yeah, we have both of them here. That's interesting. Here we can see Ornstein's cross spear associated with Ornstein the Dragonslayer. A weapon of the gods imbued with the strength of lightning. Two-handed thrust utilizes the support of the cross and requires great might, but can pierce deep into the flesh of dragons and send mere men flying. But you'll notice you've got, just starting at the top, we've got just a lance or a spear point. You've got the two little tiny arms just below the spear tip, and then you've got the cross part of the spear, right? And you can see the shape of those points. We'll just try and get you a better look at those points. So these 2 points right here, right, the cross portion, you can see is just the shape of it. Just get used to the shape of that. The other one we have, the only other cross spear that we know of, a dragon hunting weapon from the age of the gods, the earliest form of the cross spear, serving as both sword and spear. Its owner was the Nameless King and deific hunter of dragons. The sword spear is imbued with lightning, of which he was the heir. So this was the Nameless King's weapon. And even though it's got this swords portion, which is a larger spear, still has that cross bit. Same shape. Same cross shape underneath that sword spear. So, and this is an ancient the earliest form of the cross spear, serving as both sword and spear. Its owner was the Nameless King. This is the Nameless King's weapon, right? This is the son of Gwyn's weapon. This is Ornstein's weapon, right? So your initial thought coming through here, or fighting the Dragonslayer armor, is that it's Ornstein's armor. Well, if it's not Ornstein's armor, then it could be the Nameless King's armor, because that's the only two we even learn about in this game. So, the reason I don't think it's their armor is because that armor is complete with this Dragonslayer Great Axe. Once formed part of the Dragonslayer armor. So, if that was Ornstein, he should be wielding Ornstein's spear to be a complete set of armor. If it was the Nameless King, it should be wielding the sword spear to to be a complete set of armor. It's wielding neither one of them. What it is wielding is this great axe. And what's interesting about the axe, just like all the other two weapons, is it has the cross. It's right there. The one portion is here, hanging off the bottom, and the other portion is actually embedded in the axe itself. Right there, right? And you can see where the tip of the spear is probably where a spear once was. But again, the reading of this is melted iron great axe. I mean, it was a different shape at one point. Most likely. I mean, this is my complete speculation. It looks like it was melted in a fire, right? So what fire? I don't know yet, but we'll just hang on to that for a second. That it is a melted iron. And what the reason this whole character is in this area right now, wearing this freaking getup, is this is me trying to figure stuff out, trying to look for similarities. Because the only other iron it mentions in the game is ancient helm of a set of cast iron armor belonging to Champion Gundyr. So I was trying to look at it and see if I can't figure out, and this is the reason the other character has the Gundyr's halberd, is I'm trying to look at things for clues. But we know that, I mean, that's definitely a cross shape. You can see the cross, actually, the piece of the cross that would normally be there, that's now embedded in the axe, which is interesting as hell to me. Alright, now let's look at the shield. And we might as well just purchase the shield while we're in the other game. With the Lore Master Chode version 2. Alright, don't fall off.
So
damn it, I can't even wield it.
I took the mantle.
Yes. So let's read this one more time. Melted iron shield that once formed part of the Dragonslayer armor. The shield offers high protection to lightning, which the Dragonslayer commanded as his own, and its skill has faint echoes of the Dragonslayer's own fighting style. So this Dragonslayer, uncommon to Ornstein and the Nameless King, would have carried a shield, right? Melted iron shield that once formed part of the Dragonslayer armor. I mean, it's possible that this shield was not always a shield, because it was melted and turned into this. But a couple interesting things about this. First of all, we'll look at the chain on the back here. The chain is one of the reasons I was looking at Gundyr's weapon, is because Gundyr was a prisoner at one point. He was in chains. The prisoner's chain item is his item, and talks about him being a prisoner. And then, of course, Havel, another Dragon Slayer, also has chains around his shield. But then again, Havel is too small to be wearing that Dragon Slayer's armor. That's literally the only thing I have against it. I mean, you can look at other things. He didn't like dragons, he didn't like magic. And these two Dragon Slayers, the other two Dragon Slayers we know about, went off to ally with the dragons, where Havel did not. And he was a bishop of the Way of White. There's numerous reasons why I don't think Havel owned this shield. He wields stone anyway. However, it is a similar design to it, except it's made out of iron. And then the last important thing, and this I've spent a long time trying to make this out. Its skill has faint echoes of the Dragon Slayer's own fighting style. Now, just See if we can't get it to work. Okay. So this special, or skill rather, Shield Bash is not uncommon. I mean, there are other great shields that have Shield Bash. Yeah. So we'll look at Twin Dragon Great Shield and we'll watch the animation. Alright. And we'll check this one again. And I have to two-hand it just for strength reasons. Alright, so there is literally no difference except for at the end we get this white explosion. Oh, we're way overweight. So, the wording of this isn't, has faint echoes of the Dragonslayer Armour's own fighting style. It says the Dragonslayer's own fighting style. And I've played with this, and I've played with it, trying to figure out what exactly is trying to be said by that phrase. Because literally the only thing that's different is the explosion. You know, what is so special about that? I don't know. I'm lost there. I've tried to figure out the difference between what that's doing and what a regular Shield Bash does. And the difference just seems to be that this has a little bit of pushback. If I didn't kill him. I may have to go elsewhere so I don't kill the people. Yeah, I'm just killing people. Yeah, maybe here. This Dragonslayer armor was protecting the Grand Archives as well. But let's play around for a little bit longer this weapon. Damn it! I'm gonna kill everything here. Perhaps the Lothric Knight? The Lothric Knight's gonna jack me up though. Oh, I know. We'll go to Vort and the little shield dude's right outside. Of course, that's not a good representation either, so we may have to go to the Lothric Knights above them to figure out. And again, I've spent a lot of time on this, or at least hitting people with this to try and see the difference. If we can get an enemy that doesn't die in one hit, you'll see the knockback that this thing causes. So because it's a knockback, it makes me think of it's some type of force miracle that's attached with this Shield Bash. See, there it went. There it went. That's perfect. Other great shields don't have that. See? I mean, it gets hit a little bit. The other thing is... Alright, go ahead, bud. You can still block during that attack, or during the skill, but it functions that way On both shields. It's not just special to the Dragonslayer Armour shield. Alright, so let us rest again. Get my FP. And think about this a moment. Literally crunches the dudes. And it's not a long range, it like literally still has to connect in order for it to have any knockback. So what gives? What is different about this? What is that white thing telling us about the Dragonslayer who once wore that armor? And am I just confused? I could just be confused. But because the Dragonslayer armor is up there protecting the Grand Archives, controlled by a Pilgrim Butterfly. Gosh, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's right in front of this fountain of a knight statue. And he was right here. There's a Pilgrim Butterfly right above him. Right in front of this giant knight statue. I mean, what do we know about... I mean, we've got a knight statue, we've got a primordial serpent, a scholar. The only thing that's missing is the priestess. And the hunters, of course. But what we've learned about the Knights of Lothric was they were sunbros. They tamed dragons, which is not at all uncommon for the other dragon slayers that we know about. So this guy was indeed dragon slayer, but could he have trained the Lothric Knights? Let's see some Lothric Knight gear here. Looking for just a plain Jane Lothric Knight, so we may not have it. Ultra Great Sword of the Venerable Knights of Lothric, imbued with the strength of lightning, the trademark of dragon hunting. Very few have demonstrated the extreme strength and dexterity required for this weapon, even in the long history of the Lothric Knights. Very few. Let's get rid of that shield first. So we know the Lothric Knights were dragon hunters. And their weapons consist of spears, swords, and Lothric Knight swords. Or great swords. I'm just trying to piece things together. I'm literally trying to just piece it together as I'm sitting here. But we did get a full set, pretty much, of Lothric Knight gear, several sets. And that does look very similar to the Dragonslayer armor, at least the arch Looks kind of similar to, yeah, the Dragonslayer Armour. Armor of a celebrated Lothric knight. A strong steel helm if a little worn. The knight has served as one of the three pillars since ancient times and shares place alongside the wyverns as a symbol of Lothric. What is the answer here? The code of distinction is all but fallen apart. Celebrated Lothric knight. Knight's ring. Re-engraved with a portrait of a knight increases strength. In Lothric, the knight has long been considered one of the three pillars of the king's rule, and were thus allowed to rear dragons. Allowed to rear dragons, like they wanted to. The knight has long been considered one of the three pillars of the king's rule. Long been considered. What was I about to go look at? Right outside of his boss room is the Warrior of Sunlight Covenant. The statue of the Warrior of Sunlight Covenant is Gwyn's firstborn son. Just right over here. Right there. So they're heavily involved with dragons. Code of distinction. They're in with the what else? There was a lightning urns. Dragon hunting tool used by Lothric knights explodes upon contact, inflicting lightning damage. The Knights of Lothric have since tamed dragons, but were once hunters of dragons themselves. Very similar to the Sun's firstborn, Nameless King. This explains their special hunting gear and why they worship the sun. They worship the sun. Man. The only question I have left is who the hell once wore the Dragonslayer's armor? Who the hell wore it? Stone imbued with the power of the everlasting dragons, used in a secret rite by dragon worshippers. Okay, well, the Lothric people weren't dragon worshippers, they were sun worshippers. They tamed dragons. From ancient times, the path of dragon worship was walked by warriors. It is said they envision Archdragon Peak in the depths of the meditation, and at times they even hear the distant sound of the great bell at the peak. Well, yeah. There's something missing. Found in the aftermath of dragon hunts. Lightning weapons. Yeah. Refined gem was another thing that's always found here. Forge the weapons of Lothric knights. Used in infusion to create refined weapons. Refined weapons are difficult to wield properly and scaled effectively with strength and dex. So we know they are, but they also used blessed skill, right? Weapon buff. Commonly known as a charm kept by saints. Used in infusion to create blessed weapons. Gradually restore HP and heavily damage reanimated foes. What else do we have on them? Sacred Bell Tome for Lothric, from Lothric, filled with miracles for use by knights. Give to a storyteller to learn Lothric miracles. It is said that no paladin inside Lothric Castle could fall, owing to the divine protection they enjoyed. So, that's the next step. That is the next step. Is to, and this episode is going to run a little long, just because I don't want to I don't want to start the next episode under a, because I want to go to the archives on the next episode. That's what the next episode is going to be. But I do want to explore this just a little bit more while I'm in the mood to explore it. Why in the hell would I go there? Didn't click up enough times. I'm hoping the answer just hits me with a ton of bricks. Like, oh. I mean, at first I thought, well, we'll just talk about Gundyr for a second while we're running over here. Gundyr's fight starts off the exact same way Dragonslayer's Armour does. He's kneeled down, his axe is in the ground, and he stands up as we come to him. They are a very similar size. The whole melted iron thing and cast iron thing, the chain around the shield, the prisoner's chain. I mean, that could be just reaching and just seeing similarities that aren't there. The what else about Gundyr? Oh, Gundyr's fighting. Gundyr throws punches, right? Throws left-hand punches all the time. And the Dragonslayer Armour swings his shield a fuck ton. It's like just another fucking weapon with him. Just swings it about. So it's like Gundyr was in the Dragonslayer Armour. If it was Gundyr, somewhere it melted. Presumably in a Firelink ceremony, perhaps. We know that. What's the Firelink set? Their armor melts. It's melted armor, right? Because of the fire. And if Gundyr had hit the fire or linked the fire, or been close to the linking of the fire while wearing Dragonslayer armor, it could have potentially melted, and that third Dragonslayer could have been a linker of the fire, and it could have been Gundyr. Now that's complete just talk out of my ass. So let's see what
champion, do you wish to hear?
Let's see what the Lothric stuff gives.
Me a braille divine tome. Now I can tell new tales of miracles. Tales of the greater miracles can be quite the epics. What fun we will have.
So that opened up 1, 2, 3 miracles, and these dark ones are all going to go away very shortly. Okay, so Bountiful Light. This must be what the cleric dudes are casting. Miracle taught to knights by Gertrude, holy maiden to the queen. Gradually restores a large amount of HP. The heavenly daughter is said to be the queen's child. Here we have Gertrude, the heavenly daughter of the Queen of Lothric, right?
Have a pleasant, I pray.
Well, we gotta buy all those anyway.
Do you wish to have a pleasant journey?
I'm torn. Armor of the Winged Knights who swore themselves to the angels. Worship of the divine messengers was viewed as heresy in Lothric and unrecognized by any of the 3 pillars of rule. This is believed to be why Gertrude, the heavenly daughter, was imprisoned in the lofty cell of the Grand Archives.
Oh, do you wish?
So Gertrude is the daughter of the queen, and this miracle is one of the miracles of Guinevere, I would say. Okay, blessed weapon. Miracle taught to Lothric knights. Blessed is right weapon, increasing attack power as well as gradually restoring HP. The knight is one of the 3 pillars of Lothric, said to have strengthened ties with the High Priestess after the scholars acquired the Grand Archives. So the Priestess, and this is not the only item that mentions this, the Great Shield of the Lothric Knights actually mentions this as well. that the priestess and the knights kind of formed together after. I don't remember what it says, but it mentions that. And the magic barrier. Miracle of clerics who wield weapons. Increases magic damage absorption by covering the body in a white protective coating. There was a short period in history where clerics and sorcerers opposed one another. I'm going to read that as scholars and priestesses. Thus it became necessary for even simple clerics to have some means of opposing magic. So we know that Gertrude taught the knights this miracle. However, her knights that worship her seem to be at war with the Lothric knights. Well, this doesn't mention Lothric knights at all, but that's kind of what's going on.
Thank you ever so much, sweet champion. May your solemn duty conclude in triumph.
Okay.
Oh, champion, do you wish to hear a tale? These are dark tales of things that lurk, of course, only the little creatures.
I believe we are ready
May your
to send her to Firelink Shrine. Or, excuse me, the bell tower behind Firelink. I want to look at these sunlight miracles. Bountiful light. Okay. Oh, it's a transpose spell. So let us talk to Ledlith. We didn't kill him either. We need to do that before we continue.
Aha, that's all.
Here we go. Soothing sunlight. Special miracle granted to the maidens of the Princess of Sunlight. Restores a large amount of HP for self and those in the general area. The miracles of Guinevere, the princess cherished by all, bestow their blessing on a great many warriors. Special miracle granted by the Princess of Sunlight. Gradually restores a large amount of HP for self and those in the vicinity. The miracles of Guinevere, loved as both mother and wife, bestow their blessing on a great many warriors. And is that everything here?
I took them choose all.
So that should move Irina to the bell tower. And hopefully Ludlith will finally give us some of that dialogue we've been craving. Or I have. I don't know what you guys have been craving. Ah, finally.
I am a lord. A wee flame, belike. But I shoulder the world. Forgive me. Oh, please. I am not to blame. I'm not.
What are you not to blame for, bud? Alright. Alright, so we've got to go one place before we end this episode. And we're not going to answer the Dragonslayer Armour question, obviously. Not in this episode. Alright. By going through and defeating the Dragonslayer Armour, an NPC has now died. And we must go visit him. Really, dude? I had time for your nonsense. Oh, what a bad idea to try and run past these skeletons. Rootless warriors, my ass. He got roots all over him. So if we'll recall, on first coming through here, Mr. Eygon was here, and Arena of Kareem was over there. Now, what Eygon was doing at that Dragonslayer Armour, I don't know. I wish I knew. Great hammer bestowed upon Kareem knights which demonstrate outstanding strength and unwavering faith, I guess. Decorated by a warding charm of Kareem Temple and imbued with the twisted rage of Apostle Morn. What else did he have? The shield. Cloning shield. I'm missing it somehow. Oh, there it is. A deformed great shield given to Eygon of Kareem upon being conferred knighthood. The giant woman's face that protects Eygon is that of his sister, some years his senior. So if you wanted to know what Eygon's sister looked like, what is the significance of that? Why was he at the Dragonslayer Armour? Questions, man. We'll go look at his armor from the handmaid. We'll go talk to Arena at the bell tower, and then we will close this episode out.
Ah, well.
Unusual helm bestowed upon Knights of Kareem. Modeled on Morn, the Archbishop's apostle, the helm is of perfect likeness to the stone heads lining the cathedral. Wait a second. What cathedral? A Kareem Knight will dedicate an entire career to attending to a single woman, single maiden, just as Morn once served one goddess alone. Screwed that up. Black armor bestowed upon Knights of Kareem, modeled on Morn. Same thing. So what did Arena have to do
Ashen one.
with Dragonslayer Armour?
Oh, sweet champion of ash. Let souls be your strength.
Trying to get a look at her eyes and see if they're similar to the Firekeepers. No blood on her hands. Of course, she is wearing gloves. And then Arena has become a Firekeeper. What is that mark across her face? Oh, my bad, boo. Definitely yellow eyes. Curious to see if they mark the back of her eyeballs. Okay, those are different from the Firekeepers. Those are 100% different from our Firekeepers. Now let's check the back of her head. See if we can get in there for some. Yeah. Nothing unusual there. But she does have some weird mark across her face. Scar. Right there across her cheek. But again, she too has eyes. But she's been blind the entire time. I'm not picking up that item just so I have some lighting in here while I'm doing this.
Sweet champion of ash. Let souls be your strength.
So notice that she has no, she doesn't have to say anything to transfer souls to us. I guess we can... Let's just be goofballs and get strength up a couple levels, just their dex up.
Oh, let's... Oh, let's... Oh, let's...
But here's a question. What fire is she keeping out here? What the hell fire is she keeping going? Right? What the hell fire is she keeping going out here? I mean, she's literally just out here with no bonfire. Perhaps she's just waiting for our firekeeper to go. And what does that say about the relationship between the Kareem Knight and the Kareem Maiden? Do they act as firekeepers for the Kareem Knights? Horns Apostles? And now I'm even more curious about this chick's eyes. I gave you the eyes of a firekeeper. Come on. Yeah, not even close to being the same type of eye. This firekeeper, I don't trust. Not one bit. What the hell fire did she keep, though?
I'm truly sorry, but knowest thou not so pleased the lords have left their thrones to this end? Farewell, may the flame.
Here's the other thing. If this chick is blind, why is she watching me move? Perhaps it's because I'm making noise. It's true. It's true. It's very true. Where do I have that ring? I don't. When we get the ring that makes me quiet, we'll do that. The other thing is, if you gesture at her. Yeah, that was a bad example. Another bad example. Okay. She knows what I'm doing. She can see me.
Welcome, host. Ashen one, are these how the farewell mayst thou thy peace. Welcome home. Farewell mayst.
Okay. We're going to have to pick this up next time. We'll go to the Grand Archives and continue on from there, guys.